one, two, three combo of experienced entrepreneurs with a little bit of Neil Grimmer's customized science. Neil's sense of brand priority has been an incredible force multiplier at brands like Cliff and Plum, where he's been able to develop grounded products that nevertheless had incredibly high aspirations in terms of creativity, design, and disruptive impact. These companies have shifted people's habits from what they eat during exercise to what they feed their children. Now, as many of us know, Neil is trying to rethink the one-size-fits-all approach to food in a highly prescriptive way, thinking through the ways we eat as individuals. The idea of food customization carries the potential for huge ripples of change for all of us here, both in terms of health and in terms of the way we do business. So I'm thrilled for us to have the opportunity to hear Neil's thoughts on the matter. It's lucky for us indeed. Please welcome Neil Grimmer.
Good morning, everyone. What I want to talk to you about today is going to be highly personal. So I want to start by asking each one of you a very personal question. So I know a lot of you are entrepreneurs, so I'm going to look for your engagement. I want you to fully commit to this exercise. Okay. How many of you have ever tried organic eating? Stand up. Everyone who's tried organic eating, stand up. Anyone who's gone gluten-free, stay standing. Anyone who's gone gluten-free? Keep standing, everyone. Keep standing. How about ketogenics? Anyone tried ketogenics? What about, has anyone ever tried to lose weight by modulating their food? Stand up. All right, the last question is, how many of you have ever asked the question, what foods are right for me? Show of hands. You see, you and I have a lot in common. I've been asking that question since a very, very early age, and it all started with this ridiculous high school yearbook photo. Now, I have mixed feelings about this photo. On one hand, I'm wicked proud, and at the same time, I have this what was I thinking kind of moment. But at the time, you see, I was what you might characterize as a teenage punk rock animal rights activist, a militant vegan of sorts, where every squishy bite of tofu was an act of defiance. A plate was a mini protest. In mealtime, well, that was my soapbox to speak truth to power. Now, unfortunately, most of the time that power was my mother, so she got a little bit exhausted by my antics. But you see, back then, food was political. So fast forward 12 years of vegan, and my Ironman aspirations superseded my veganism. And all of a sudden, food became functional. I weighed my food. I measured my food. Every meal was a math calculation, a formula to get to single-digit body fat percentages. And I saw results, so I doubled down. 6% body fat. And that's when things went horribly wrong, as you can see by this photo. So I was so obsessed with the goal of getting across the finish line fastest and lightest I possibly could that I actually put my body into a major shutdown. I had what was called athlete's heart, where you metabolize your heart muscle for fuel. I had fatty liver, and my hypothalamus literally stopped working, and that regulates, among other things, your fertility. And so at that time, my wife and I were trying to have a child, and we weren't having a whole lot of luck. A trip to the doctor revealed that I had literally, through my aspirations of being a performance athlete, had really messed up my body. And so 2 years of a long break from racing and a steady diet of eating different kinds of foods, I'm pleased to report that my wife and I had our first child. And that's when food became love. You see, these two little monkeys had me wrapped around their finger, and as it turns out, it was amazing for business. They inspired me to start one of the fastest growing baby food companies in the country called Plum Organics. As John mentioned, we pioneered the spouted pouch baby food that took the industry by storm. And many of us, we're mission driven. like you've heard about the two entrepreneurs before me, we had a mission to get the very best food to kids from the very first bite. Nothing was going to stop us from delivering on that promise, not even our own health and well-being. So 8 years later, we sold the company to Campbell's Soup, and this is what I look like. I had what I characterize as CEO disease, 65 pounds heavier than when I was racing. Awesome. And look at these two dudes. They're like, what's up with him, man? I don't know. They're either checking me out or telling me I got a problem. Either one is not great. But so here's the deal. Like, I had this moment, and I'd been in the industry for 30 years at this point. And, you know, I had a question at the end of the day. Like, I was 65 pounds heavier than I was. Blood work told me that I was pre-diabetic, high risk for a heart attack. And I had to do something, but quite frankly, after 30 years of hacking with my food, one question loomed large, which is what foods are truly right for me? Well, it turns out we've been asking this question since the dawn of time. One wrong food choice from one wrong tree sent the world in disarray. Only imagine if Eve knew what foods were right for her. From there, it was what we could hunt and what we could gather. Then the first agricultural revolution, it was what we could raise and what we could grow, what we could harvest. And since then, the last 2 centuries, we've literally tried thousands of ways to answer the question of what foods are right for me. We've tried the grapefruit diet, the fast food diet. We've tried low carb. We've tried high carb. We've tried high fat, low fat, and everything in between, where one day eggs are bad, the next day they're good. And while there's been wisdom throughout the ages around nutrition, I think the one thing that we've always gotten wrong is that we've always taken a one-size-fits-all approach to food. I believe 2017 is going to be the era of you, the era of personalized nutrition, the era where we look inside of ourselves to answer the question, what foods are right for each one of us? Powered by big data and computational biology, for the first time ever, we're able to tap into the nutrition insights that live inside of our DNA, our blood work, our metabolism. Now, I personally benefited from this personalized nutrition methodology. As I said, this guy was 65 pounds heavier than he was when he was racing. I had a problem I had to solve. And like many of you out there, entrepreneurs, you see a problem, you don't just see a path to fix it, you see an opportunity to fix it for other people that have a shared experience. And so that set me off with a real new purpose and a new mission, which is moving from feeding our earliest generation the very best food to helping all of us be the very best versions of ourselves through the power of personalized nutrition. And after getting full genome sequence with one of the fathers of the Human Genome Project, getting every blood work test you could imagine, even getting hooked up to this bike and basically breathing in this ventilation tube for 45 minutes to see how I'm burning carbohydrates and fats. I took all that data and I sat down with specialists to figure out a nutrition plan that could help me turn around my health condition. And in doing that, I started running the program. 1 month in, I started feeling amazing. After 6 months, I had lost 25 pounds, and I had a new lease on life. And you see, this time, for the first time, I actually let my body do the talking. That inspired me to start a company called Habit. We launched nationally in August. And we're the world's first personalized nutrition company, where we look at your DNA, your blood work, and your metabolic function. This is an at-home test kit. It looks more like an Apple product than it does a medical test, and that's by design. This shake that's right next to it is really one of the elements that makes this a really unique experience. So outside of some of the fad diets that are going on out there, this is actually a test where you take a fasting blood test, you drink this milkshake, and it's a high-calorie, high-carbohydrate, high-fat shake. And then we take your blood 2 more times with a simple prick of the finger, 30 minutes and 2 hours after you drink the shake. And in real time, we check to see how you process fats, carbs, and proteins. So now all of a sudden, you can figure out if that vegan diet, that paleo diet, that keto diet is the right diet for you. From there, we take all that information, put it into a easy-to-understand nutrition dashboard. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that's all of your insights that are coming from your body. In the middle, think of it as a New York Times best-selling diet book, nutrition book, customized just for you. So once we've empowered people with knowledge and insights about what's going on inside their body, we want to make it easy and actionable for them to make a lifestyle change, create a new habit. So the first thing we do is we have registered dietitians on staff that'll do one-on-one coaching with people that's focused on their personalized goals and aspirations they have with their food and their health. And the last thing we do is we make fresh prepared meals customized to your biology delivered to your door. So each one of these meals has a nutrition dashboard associated with it, why it was created just for you. Now that's what we do, but as you heard from John, the why you do it is as important, if not more important. And there's three founding beliefs of habit. The first one was that we believe food was never meant to be one size fits all. If you look around this room and ask yourself the question, should we all be eating the same food in the same way at the same time? Intuitively, you would say no. And what's exciting now is science actually supports that intuition. The second is we believe you all deserve an owner's manual for your body. You know, I've been hacking with my food for 46 years at this point. That's a long journey to get to the answers that I just received after 2 weeks of doing a test. And we believe we can empower people at the earliest stages of their lives to know what foods are right for them. We're going to have a much healthier population. And the last is we believe food can transform lives one plate at a time. That's our mission. We're out to unlock the best version of each one of you through the power of personalized nutrition. So with that, I come from the consumer packaged goods world, and we know the power of brand to seduce people into making a change, maybe putting their hand into that chip bag one more time. So we wanted to use the power of brand for good. And so we've wrapped a lifestyle brand around habit, and this is a quick video to share that with you. Can you run the video?
If you want to be your best, you need to know yourself. What makes you, you. How you're different, unique, and original. Yet every day we're told that when it comes to eating, we're all the same. Told to jump on the next food fad where one day eggs are bad, the next day they're good. But one size doesn't fit all. It's time to get personal, to get microscopic. It's time for a solution as unique as you are. It's time for habit. Habit looks at you at the cellular level, your inner workings, the blood that runs through your veins, your DNA. What makes you, well, you. Habit marries its passion for food with the science of you, designing a nutrition blueprint that only your biology craves. So you can eat better, feel better, be better, feeding the best version of you. The you with mojo, the you that's on your game, the you that's uniquely unstoppable. Welcome to Habit. Food personalized.
All right, what did you guys think? Like it? All right. Okay, now at this point you may be asking, does this personalized nutrition thing really work? So we wanted to share a study that we did where we looked at bacon. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it friend or is it foe? And we all know it's delicious, but can we have bacon in our lives? And so to answer that question, we looked at 1,400 people's response to this mixed macronutrient challenge beverage that we have. And what we found is that people actually process fats very differently. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see people process fats, saturated and unsaturated fats, very, very easily. This shows that the triglycerides in their blood increase, decrease very rapidly. That gets converted into energy, and they're off to the races. Those on the right-hand side of the screen actually have a much more difficult time processing fats. Much similar to how you would see someone who has high blood sugar levels after eating too many carbohydrates. The same effect for fats. And so these actually have a very negative effect on the body and ultimately stores as fat on the body and has some other health implications as well. So the broad implications from a personalized nutrition standpoint is those on the left. Actually, bacon can be good. I do feel it is important to add, don't go whole hog on the bacon. You guys got to use it, discretionarily, but you actually can eat it, and it's not horrible for you. On the right, we'd suggest you swap out a piece of bacon for a slice of avocado toast. Now, the other thing we wanted to do is to answer the question, can we help people achieve their health goals through the power of personalized nutrition? So to do that, we looked at 20 people going through an 8-week process, going through the habit test, getting a personalized nutrition plan, having one-on-one coaching, and then being part of a private Facebook group coaching session. And we actually found some amazing results. The first one is that 74% of people over an 8-week period lost weight. The second is that one individual actually lost 18 pounds, which happens to be the equivalent weight of a tire. So he literally and figuratively lost the tire around his waist. And then the total group lost 78 pounds. So now we've lost all 4 tires off the car. I mean, these are tremendous results. We're talking about an 8-week period. But I think some of the things that actually impressed me more was not only just the physical transformation that people went through, but was the behavioral transformation that we saw. The first one was that 56% of people increased their non-starchy vegetable consumption. 43% decreased their sugary beverage consumption. And 26% actually reduced their alcohol consumption. And given how crazy the world is right now, I think this is actually a remarkable statistic. But the last one that I think really blows me away is that 83% of people said they increased their eating confidence in social and emotional eating situations. Folks, that's when we make our worst food choices. It's when we're either super psyched or super sad. And being able to have the confidence to know what foods are right for you in those environments, to stay on your plan, is essential. Take, for example, Caitlin. Caitlin's a mother, she's a wife, she's a breast cancer survivor. For Caitlin, every food choice carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. And she studied every diet and nutrition book she could get her hands on. But after she got a personalized nutrition plan, she actually took all of those books off the shelf, laid them on the floor, snapped this photo, posted it to Instagram, and said no more. She packed up all of those books, sent them all off to Goodwill, because see, for the first time, Caitlin actually understood what foods are really right for her. And it took all the guesswork out of eating for her. Imagine having Caitlin's confidence when you're trying to navigate the thousands of items in a grocery store. Imagine having the ability to walk into any restaurant around the country and know what foods are right for you. Imagine every meal that you eat is nutrient-dense, data-rich, and just right for you. So the next time you do this gesture, which is flipping a product over, in that gesture, what you're really trying to answer is this food right for me? And I hope we move to answer that question from a one-size-fits-all approach to answering that question to a highly personalized, nuanced answer to the question of what foods are right for each one of us. Thank you.
That is terrific.
Awesome.
And I think we all are incredibly excited about this idea, and we have an audience of people who are in the CPG business.
Right.
And so the question is, how afraid of this trend that you're putting out there, this customization of diet, should these companies be?
Well, I think it's like you've heard it with both of the amazing entrepreneurs that were here before. It's like there are going to be innovations that are going to transform the way we think about industries, and you can either lean into it, you can shy away from it. And I think this is one where if you actually think about the implications of moving from a one-size-fits-all approach to food to one that's highly personalized, it changes the food industry, it changes the healthcare industry, it changes the diet industry. It's a massive transformational shift. And the one thing I would say is that I think as we start to build capabilities and technologies around this, personalization and curation is happening. It's happening in online shopping. Coke Freestyle is a Coke machine that's based on preference. You can mix up your own drink. So the signals...
Certainly habit approved.
No comment. These signals are out there in the market already. And I think what we're now doing is connecting the dots between your biology, your behavior, and your goals and aspirations with a highly customized approach. So I think it's going to actually lead to a wave of innovation.
So are there ways to fit these products to sort of jigsaw puzzle the appropriate diet out of the personal type, or is it just being in the zone or being in the habit?
It's a great question. So the way we looked at it is we have over 5,000 unique recommendations for individuals, but we catalog them into 7 ways of eating. And these 7 actually map closely to popular diets that are out there. One is a high protein, moderate fat, low carbohydrate diet. One is probably closer to a Mediterranean diet. One is a plant-based vegan diet. And so, a lot of the offerings are already out there. One is probably closer to paleo. They're already out there, and it's about connecting the dots between those offerings and an individual's biology and preferences.
Are there ways or ideas about helping brands partner with this kind of personal alignment?
Yeah, we look at it as really we're building a platform around personalized nutrition. And so that has partnership opportunities across retailers, ingredient suppliers, consumer packaged goods companies. Ultimately, while we're in the business of creating meals for people, we're also working on curating all the foods that are out there based on your personal health goals.
So, I think that's an important thing to remember. And I don't know if it fits in this sort of over-labelization of a lot of food products right now. To have something that's habit approved could be highly marketable.
Yep.
Also could be highly confusing. The one question I want to ask is, can we go back to the Bangs days for a second, when every meal was political?
Yeah.
They still are.
They absolutely are.
So the question is, how do you scale this to people who aren't necessarily able to meet with the top geneticist in the world to?
Well, that's our goal and mission. Part of the thing in my journey to figure out what was going on with me, it was thousands of dollars globetrotting to get that job done. And what we were trying to do is take all of that science and technology and bring it as something that we can make available to anyone in this country that wants to unlock their own health through personalized nutrition. So that's our goal. And and one of the comments people will give us right now is our test kit costs around $299. And people will say, boy, that's expensive, and is it accessible to people around the country? And I use Plum as an example, and this is true for any entrepreneur out there, is make sure you get the product right. So in Plum's case, when we first came out, we were $1.79 for a spouted pouch baby food. There's never anything like it on the market. We were bringing culinary-inspired ingredients with this ultra-convenient, spouted pouch, and real healthy food just cost more. We weren't doing just mushy peas. We were doing quinoa, kale, Greek yogurt. And we said, look, we're not going to cheap out on the ingredients. We're going to get the product right. And knowing that price point is not accessible to everyone around the country, fast forward 10 years later, Plum is a leading organic baby food brand. We're in 75% of retailers around the country with very competitive price points. So we intend to do the same thing with habit. There's a Moore's Law. You guys have heard of Moore's Law with technology, and the technology speed increases, the cost decreases. That same Moore's Law is applied to genetic testing and blood testing. So the costs are dropping precipitously. So we hope in very short order we'll be able to make this widely available to everyone.
Well, I'm very excited to see how you do. I think we all are.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much.